Hello everyone, thank you Lisa. I'm a biotechnologist. Already I'm a PhD student at University of Wrocław, and today I wanted to talk about bacterial arms race. So, as probably every here know, that microbes are really tiny organisms, such as bacteria, viruses, fungi, and protists, and they are everywhere. I mean, in environment, in atmosphere, in water, even in the hot springs, like in Yellowstone Park, in this glass also, on you, on your skin, and inside your body. And most of them are okay with us. They protect us, but also there are pathogens which can harass us. And when you imagine microbial world, maybe you think they live in peace, making communities and just living. And their world may be like a tiny paradise, but it's not true. Their world looks more like this. So every day for them is a battle. Battle for space to live, for nutrients and water, for oxygen, and for life. And it's important that they need a weapon to fight. And in my today speech, I wanted to answer two main questions. First, where do bacterial weapons came from, and how their arsenal looks like? And I wanted to start with a short quote from the Lewis Carroll book about Alice in Wonderland. And in this book, Red Queen said to Alice, "Now here you see, it takes all the running you can do to keep in the same place." And it's matched perfectly with this what happened in microbial world. Because species must constantly adapt, evolve, and proliferate to survive. And it's like in this Alice world, they have to run to be alive. And I wanted to show it on this simple example. So imagine that you have two bacteria, blue one and red one. And blue one is producing toxin, but which kill the red bacteria. But red bacteria can adapt and, for example, produce antitoxin, which can destroy the toxin, and the red bacteria is still alive. But the time is going on, and the blue bacteria is still adapting, so it produces an improved toxin, which kills the red one. But red one can, for example, develop such a pump to pump out the toxins from the cells, and this evolution, this arms race, is going on. And as I said, bacteria fight using specialized weapons, and I divided them in three categories: chemical, contact, and strategy. So first, in bacterial world, it's important who poison faster. When bacteria poison faster, be alive. And I have few examples. For example, chloramphenicol is a toxin produced by Streptomyces bacteria, and it blocks protein production in enemies. And here I have also example how the examination in laboratory looks like. So here are spreaded bacteria on a plate, and here are paper discs soaked with this substance, chloramphenicol, and here with water. And when the substance works, the bacteria don't grow here, near to this substance. And it's how in laboratory we examine bacteria, if they're sensitive or not for some compounds. Other example is damptomycin. It's produced by this bacteria, and it's, for example, destroy the bacteria membrane. And to show you how it's seen under the microscope, it's a normal living bacteria cell, and it's how it looks after 30 minutes of exposure to this substance. it's completely, as you see, destroyed, and the bacteria is probably dying. And in the nature, we have thousands of compounds like this. Every bacteria produces substances, lots of them are toxins. And what is important, what is common for these substances, besides this, the beautiful bacteria produce them, like colorful, they save human lives. Because we use these substances to kill bacteria that are pathogens. Yes? So we can heal from tuberculosis, cholera, tropical infections, or something like that, like sepsa. And we call them antibiotics. So here, I wanted to tell you that antibiotics are killing bacteria, but they are also produced by bacteria. Then we can switch to the second type of weapon. It's a close contact weapon. And bacteria have many of systems to kill another bacteria. Here is a type 6 secretion system. Is work like a spear. And when bacteria, in this case blue, have this system and recognize the enemy, it uses this and do a hole inside the bacteria membrane and also pump a toxin from this bacteria to another and kill enemy. We have also tylosins. It looks like a small nanorobot, something like that, like nano harpoons. And bacteria spread them to the environment. And when these nanorobots recognize the enemy, they also do holes in the membranes and kill enemies. And what is interesting that scientists think if they can use the tylosins, for example, for protect plants, and they check it on tomatoes, then take tomato fruits, do some holes inside it, and after 15 days they observe what they can see. And in control group, there is no disease in tomatoes. When they put pathogenic bacteria in tomatoes, the tomato was rotten. But when they mix bacteria and tylosins, the tomato looks like in control, so like treated with water. Another group checked if it's also work in animals. And they give mice tylosins to drink. And then they tried to infect them with a gut pathogen, Clostridium difficile, and it was stopped. And mice was immune to the infection. And another example is a structure of proteins with attached toxin index. And when bacteria recognize the enemy, it puts the toxin inside the enemy cell, and also leading to the enemy death. And last but not least is a strategy, because bacteria are also really good strategists. And sometimes when you don't have weapon, you can somehow win. And here is how. The first is faster division. So if bacteria you imagine you have two bacteria, blue and red. And red is dividing faster, for example, in 20 minutes, and blue in 20 minutes. And after this 20 minutes, it's not impressive. It's a slight difference. But after a few hours, the bacteria will grow rapidly. In this case, this bacteria not only overwhelm the enemies, but also take the sources, like the nutrients, the water, everything. And in this case, it's also good to have easy access to nutrients. When bacteria have possibility to, for example, swim faster, to eat the nutrients faster, it always be the advantage. Because it doesn't matter how many arsenal you have, but it's important that when the bacteria eat the nutrients, the second bacteria will die. Another example is biofilm, because bacteria really like to grow in community. And this biofilm is a matrix made of the DNA, sugars, and proteins. And in this, bacteria are really like in the defense system. The antibiotics can't defend effectively, the enemies can't catch them. And last but not least is evolution, because evolution gives the bacteria arsenal. In every of this system, what I told, wouldn't be possible without evolution, because evolution keeps rewriting the rules. So next time when you think about bacteria, don't imagine a simple form life, but think about them as a chemists, strategists, and engineers, and think how we could learn from them, like using the tylosins as antibiotics, because we can use them in, for example, medicine. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Marta. Thank you, Marta. It's a really interesting topic for me because I'm a biologist also. But you told about those tylosins, and I think it's the most interesting and new in your presentation. And I want to ask you, you told that they look like nanorobots. And I thought if we can use their structure for building those nanorobots and using in some, I don't know, somewhere else. Do you know those examples of using those structures?
Yes, in science world, there is lots of groups in the world that producing, for example, synthetic tylosins and trying to develop some tylosins which will kill only the bacteria that are pathogens. For example, when you have been infected, for example, by Pseudomonas aeruginosa and something like that, this tylosin will kill only this bacteria and disrupt your own microbiome. So, yeah, it's a future, I think.
Questions?
So the question about the battlefield. So you told us about the arsenal of the weapons, but what about battlefield? Are there some, can some battlefield kill the bacteria, like help the bacteria? So what, I don't know how I'm just asking this question, but battlefield, can you assist please?
So I think the battlefield is the area where bacteria live, so everywhere. And there will be better place to fight, like, I don't know, in water, when you can swim around and find the nutrients. But there will be also a hard place to live and to fight. For example, there is a pathogen, maybe you know, Helicobacter pylori, which lives in people's stomach, and there are really low HP, and bacteria are really strong to survive in this environment. So battlefield is important, but bacteria can adapt to every place, I think.
First of all, thank you for this beautiful presentation. I think that everybody agrees. Visually very beautiful and informative. I have an interesting question. Are you aware of any new technologies or methods that you guys are using in your field to maybe discover new bacteria or learn more about them?
Okay, so I have example for my own lab. Like now I'm doing one of the projects when I, for example, looking for a bacteria which can kill a pathogenic fungi. And what I did is that I take some soil from outside our building, and here I isolate microorganisms from them, and then I screening hundreds of bacteria and looking for this one which will kill the fungi. And it's how the screening looks like. But you can just you can also, for example, finding it in plant extracts, something like that.
Correct. I have been really interested about the telco and bacteria because their structures, their form, it looks so artificial, like it's been created by the humankind, and yet it's still the creation of the nature. And still, I would like to know, like, if they study in your faculty some background story about this, or this is just, it is how it is. So maybe you can say something about this.
So, for example, the stylosins, they are really, really similar to phages, to viruses which killing bacteria. And in case of that, it's like we don't know what was faster, for example, if the stylosin was faster in evolution, or for example, viruses was faster. But viruses, like a bacteria, they are not living organisms, but they still evolve. And somehow it looks like that.
And can I also have a little bit personal question to you? Because I have a lot of friends who are next year going to study the exact field that you studied. And just would like to ask any nudge from you or advices before starting it, like something?
Like in biotechnology?
Yes.
I think the most important, it depends what you want to do after the studies, for example. But if you want to do research, to stay at academia, the work in lab is the most important. So looking for a scholarship, looking for a lab when you can try, do experiments and also fail. Because failings are also the part of the science, and it's also very important to try everything.
And that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
One question?
Okay.
So my question is, you tell us about all these methods like close combat or strategies, but can they combine in one bacteria? Like it's have its strategies, but it also kills in close combat, and what's more common? Have many strategies in one bacteria to defend yourself, or one specific one, and which is specialized?
Thank you for this question. It's really good questions, I think. Because obviously it will be very nice if bacteria have whole arsenal and can do everything. But it needs lots of energy, lots of nutrients to build, for example, tylosins or something like that. So bacteria, lots of bacteria live in communities when some produce this and some produce another thing. And also, as I said, the biofilm is also helping. And the communities, the fast growth is the best what they can do. And yes, they also, what is important, spread the genes. Like you have a horizontal gene transfer. So when if one bacteria died, for example, and the DNA will be around, the second bacteria can come and take this DNA, and there is a code to produce some nanomachines or something like that.
So you can say it's like a city where everyone has their own jobs and collaborate together.
Yeah, something like that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think one question.